Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to our show. We have gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the multiverse, two of the nerdiest geeks to be found. We proudly present the Professor and her geeky girlness herself, Ace. And now it's time. GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace. Hey everybody, welcome into GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace, episode 66. Ace is not with us tonight. AJ's had some family stuff going on, and for those of you that know her, know what's going on there, but she's got to take care of that, and our thoughts and prayers go with her and the family. So, yeah. But we are very excited to have our good buddy Keith over here, even though right now, can't see his real face, but it's a beautiful animation of his face. So, well, Keith, we're glad we have you with us. You are one of our go-to guys for stuff on DC, and we wanted to kind of review the DC fandom, and we wanted to do it last week, and things just did not work out to do it last week. So we're going to do episode 66 tonight on Monday, which is a very unusual time for us to do this. And then we're looking at episode 67, where we're going to talk, Ace and I, and of course, you're always welcome to come join us. We're going to talk about our favorite spooky, scary, horror-based television shows or specials. So, and of course, I'm sure the Peanuts Halloween special will be included because that's kind of a go-to for everybody. But we wanted to talk about that, but we'll talk about that Thursday. So we wanted to hit that before Halloween, and because of the way things work, we wanted to make sure we got in the DC fandom before it got too late, because it's already been over a week, but we want to talk about what happened there. So thank you for coming on and joining me, Keith. I appreciate it, my friend.
Well, thanks for inviting me. And look, I'm always, you know me, I'm always willing to just talk about DC, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm down like ground round for that stuff.
Well, that's good. Did you happen to have an opportunity to watch it, or did you catch the highlights afterwards for the fandom?
You know what? I caught part of it.
Yeah. I
stuck through it as long as I could because look, as a DC fan, I'm also very honest in my opinions about it. And I got to say, unlike last year, this year's show was just a lot of filler. Now, some of it was very entertaining filler, but it was filler.
Right.
And it just seems to me that they didn't have as much as they had the year before.
Right.
And mainly because there's about to be some major changes for Warner Brothers.
Right.
And so I think the people that are currently in charge of everything, DC, wanted to at least make a last-ditch effort to actually show a few things before they're no longer in those jobs.
Right. So with that, in everything I've heard agrees completely with you. That was just a lot of filler. There were some good moments. There were some of the filler was good stuff. But compared to last year, and last year there was so much hype around it. Last year being the first one, and of course that partially done because of COVID, and DC wasn't able to get out to a lot of the conventions where they a lot of times make their announcements. A lot of times they'll make their announcements at Comic-Con in San Diego, or they'll make announcements in New York. And occasionally you'll get some in one of the Chicago shows also. And I've even seen an announcement or two in Kansas City at Planet Comic-Con. But those things weren't happening. This year, some of them started coming back, but it wasn't quite, fully there yet. So I know that they want to do the fandom again, and it was a big hit last year. And last year, even I spent a lot of time watching it last year and was really intrigued by it. And I didn't get to watch much of it this year. We had some other obligations, but I did catch all the highlights. But everybody that I would see that was giving some breakdown on it was like, looking at fan art on Aquaman or whatever, that's great. That's wonderful. But that really wasn't why people showed up.
Yeah. Well, again, if I were to be, I look at it this way. That entire presentation was probably 2 hours longer than it needed to be.
Right. That's what I've heard. Is it just short of 4 hours? Isn't that right? Just under 4 hours? Yeah.
It needed to be about an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if you did other things. But there is a lot of stuff coming.
Right.
But it's all stuff that it's pretty academic. You know, there was a lot more stuff related to their television properties, and to a lot of the stuff that they're going to have on HBO Max.
Right.
But the thing is that at this point, that's the only stuff, because your film stuff, that's where some of the problems lay with the current people running DC. Right. I don't know if you caught this earlier, but the president of Warner Media Europe had a statement that was not in line with how they're talking about things here. And what she did was she pointed out something that was completely obvious, and it's completely obvious to the people that will be taking over Warner Brothers in a couple of months, which is the number one thing that they had this year, according to sales, according to even people that have bought it and have bought multiple copies, is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Right.
That is a tremendous success. In fact, it has probably moved more units in both Blu-ray and DVD sales than any other thing over the last 5 years. And the Toby Emmerich, who runs Warner Brothers Films, and the current head of DC Films, Walter Hamada, along with Ann Sarnoff, who is the person that is currently running Warner Media, have been on a crusade to just sort of pretend that it doesn't, or it hadn't happened. They refuse to talk about it.
Right.
Which is one of the main reasons why they will no longer have jobs by this time next year.
But being petty will do that to you.
And that's the thing. This is all down to pettiness. It has nothing else other than pettiness, because money, Zack Snyder's Justice League brought that in. And that's what the new boss is going to want. Right. He wants stuff that's going to make them money. Now, having said that, some of the stuff that we saw at Fandome this year might not be back.
Right.
Under that line of thinking. There's a lot of shows. There's a lot of things that right now are costing them a lot of money, but that aren't doing anything to bring them any more money in, let alone getting good ratings. And I'm looking right at you, Batwoman. So
you're looking right at Batwoman.
Yeah, Batwoman, aside from when they decided to show Star Trek Discovery on network television, Batwoman is the worst consistently rated show out of all the TV shows pretty much every week.
Now, this is interesting. I can't get it to... Normally, I pull up the picture and it pulls it up right in front, but today it's... Yeah. Let's try that now. Did I click something wrong? It's probably me. No, I'm still not getting to pull up. It's behind our pictures. Anyway, I had pictures to go along with everything. But so, yeah, Batwoman's one of those shows. And of course, I think Batwoman, part of the issues have been the inconsistency of who Batwoman is.
Mm-hmm.
Changing of the guard last year. The writing on the show has never been spectacular from what I've seen.
I'll go ahead and say it for you so that you don't have to do this. The writing's awful. The writing is awful. In fact, the writing for a lot of the Berlanti DC shows on the CW is awful. I know people who are diehard fans of the Flash television series that have finally said that they are out. They are done. And so a lot of Berlanti's shows on the CW, I will not be surprised if they are not renewed. Because, again, that money could go towards brand new projects that people actually want to see. And it's nothing
right.
against the actors or any of the people working on the shows. It's just that I think the fan base is done. I think a lot of the I think the formula that they use to create a lot of those Berlanti shows, I think people are tired of it and they want to move on to other things. Now, not all of Berlanti stuff is going to go away. This year's Fandome was able to set people onto things like Doom Patrol, and Titans, and so both those shows will continue. Supergirl is in its final season, and they did a goodbye kind of wrap up with the cast from that one during the Fandome. We got a chance to, I think, Candace Patton, who plays Iris West on The Flash, was able to host a few segments while also, on the set of The Flash. And again, great actress, fantastic cast. But I think we've seen the last of them. I say that the coolest thing to come out of this year's Fandome, as far as something that immediately that fans could jump onto, was not only you could turn to see brand new episodes of Doom Patrol, but they went ahead and launched season 4 of Young Justice Phantoms. I mean, not Phantoms, but Young Justice, a new season of Young Justice, season 4. And they went ahead and launched the first 2 episodes already. So if you haven't already seen it, turn on your HBO Max right now. And I think they are now 4 episodes in to this latest season of pretty much the best animated series they have probably ever done. Yeah, I said it. Yes, Young Justice.
So I know every season kind of focuses on different characters. They kind of evolve the Young Justice group. Who are they focusing on this year? Who's going to
this year? It's this. It'll be Connor and his impending marriage to
McGowan.
Yeah, McGann.
Yeah.
So they've gone to Mars, and her uncle is there, and her family's there, and the storyline is really about the 2 of them trying to fit in and focus on having a traditional Martian wedding and a mystery that comes up that they are there to solve. And the writing is just great. The animation is great again. And so, it's a lot of fun to catch up with any new episodes of this show.
Yeah.
So
I've finished season 3. I've not started season 4. I did hear that they had released a couple of the episodes. I did not know we're up to 4 of them. So, but I will be catching those because I've always enjoyed it. The first season is my favorite of that series. But yeah, I've enjoyed every season. Last season was it was different, but I still liked it. So
yeah.
So with that, talking about that, we'll talk about some of the other animated news out there and throw in anything. And I really wish I could show pictures because, like I said, I did all this work bringing pictures, and I don't know what it's doing tonight. Something weird where it's not showing them. So I apologize, guys. Let's talk about the Catwoman Hunted because that's an animated movie coming out with Catwoman, and it looks like Batwoman, and probably some other people in there also. But Catwoman is trying to get herself off Interpol's most wanted list by bringing in some fellow bad guys.
Yes. It was amazing. It
was. The only thing I can say that was weird with the trailer was Batwoman looked like she couldn't figure out what was going on the whole trailer. She's like, what, how did that happen? I'm like, what in the world? That's strange. But otherwise, I mean, the trailer is a lot of fun.
Oh, geez. And the cast that they have is amazing. Lauren Cohan, Jonathan Banks, Keith David, Kelly Hu. Look, this is some cream of the crop talent. And another amazing animated film from Sam Register as executive producer. Look, if you are a fan of a lot of the more recent DC animated films that they put out, this is right up your alley. And this is all part of the new DC animated films that they are putting out. They decided to go ahead and close down the previous animated universe of films and start a whole new one. And so this is a part of that long line.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm in on that one. Give me the Catwoman one. I'm totally in. Now, I'm not 100% sure I'm in, but I'm probably not the right age group for DC League of Super Pets. It looks like fun. It looks like fun, but I don't know. But I did like how you had the Bat Dog talking back to Crypto. It's like, oh, you're not the only one. What are you doing?
Well, you know what? That one looks. I think it's a movie.
Yeah, I think right.
I think that one's going to be
a movie or a series. No, it's a movie. Yeah, it's a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's a movie, and that one also has an incredible vocal cast.
It does. Dwayne Johnson is Crypto. Kevin Hart is Ace. Yeah.
John Krasinski, Kate McKinnon, Kevin Conroy, and Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
So
that's right, Keanu Reeves. That's right. Yeah.
And this is not the first animated thing he's done, but I'm sure this is one of the things that he had a lot of fun with.
Oh, I'm
sure. So this one is definitely made for the entire family. And if you are a big fan of the Silver Age DC, then you'll know that there are a lot of different super pets involved during the Silver Age of DC. Because you had Crypto, you had Ace the Bat Hound, you had, Streaky the Super Cat.
But then what was the horse, the super horse that could turn into?
Oh, yeah.
Something weird. It could transform into something. I don't know. My father has that comic, by the way, and it was introduced. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just the craziest thing. Super pets. So that is one that you can definitely sit down with the kids and have fun. Because some of these aren't really going to be kid friendly, but that one definitely is. So I want to talk about one that announcement, and you told me this was coming, and I know you're super excited for. It's the Milestone ones with Static Shock and all those guys.
Icon and all. Yeah. What it is that Milestone is back.
Yes.
And they are under. They have returned to basically start out with brand new comics. So they're going to take the original Milestone characters and put out brand new comic adventures for their characters. Now, anyone that's familiar with the Milestone comics realizes that some of these books had actual endings, like Icon and others.
Right.
So this is kind of like a reboot of the Milestone universe, so they can reintroduce these characters to a whole new generation of fans. And I am so beyond excited for all of this. But it isn't just going to be comics.
Right.
This is now going to be a full entertainment division for Milestone. So it's going to include animation and, most importantly, film. And one of the people that signed up to help them out last year was Michael B. Jordan.
Right.
And this is way before all of that talk about what J.J. Abrams was going to do with Superman. The reason why Michael B. Jordan had signed up was because he was going to try to get two things done. He was going to try to get a Static Shock project off the ground, but he was also, and this is the one I was looking forward to, an Icon movie off the ground. And Icon is I think Icon was what really he was going to try to star in because he's a little too old to be Static.
Right.
And
he's going to have a hard time pulling off the teenager. Yeah. Hey, so would I. So
it is going to be fun, and they I think with the help they are getting, I hope that the next person who will be in charge of DC Films will be available to help them do more, because I don't think that Walter Hamada has done anything to help Milestone Media accomplish their goals of getting some films launched. Because again, last year's DC Fandome, they talked about relaunching comics, and they were talking about some films that we're looking into. This year, what are we looking at here? I mean, I don't know. I'm very frustrated by that. And for J.J. Abrams to be so tone deaf as to go after Michael B. Jordan to try to get him to be Black Superman, rather than understanding that, he was wanting to be Icon.
Right.
Not only is it tone deaf and a little rude, in my opinion, but it was also kind of greedy of him to attempt to do that. And Walter Hamada should have known better.
Right.
Being, again, the head of DC Films. So.
Well, and I know that they did announce an animated film with that group. So, I mean, that's where the animation part came in. But yeah, I did hear that about the relaunch of the comics. Were there any other comic news? Because I really didn't hear anything comic book wise much coming out of Fandom.
Well, they do have comics that are already out there. Right. They were able to get us hardware. And Icon and Static are out there. So in case you haven't been to your local comic book shop in a while, you can find brand new adventures of all of these great Milestone characters at your local comic book shop.
You should definitely shop local there whenever possible. In fact, sadly, one of our local shops here in Springfield is going out. So, anyway, so all right. Let's see. There was something else animated here too.
Well, also they were one of the other shows that is coming back for another season is the animated Harley Quinn.
Oh, and I did not see that. Oh, well, that's great. I that had so much buzz about it. It was just kind of expected it would come back because that was crazy and not for kids.
Yes, it is not for kids.
So much fun. And Kite Man. Okay. Like you made Kite Man cool. Okay. All right. So I did see that there was what was it? I apologize. Let's see. There was an announcement of Teen Titans Go and DC Superhero Girls teaming up, which is interesting because the both of those are more for kids. DC Superhero Girls is a girls' school with various superheroes, and that's a fun show. My niece has watched that, so that's going to be an entertaining thing, especially for the young kids that are into that. You've got a Green Lantern animated movie coming, Beware of My Power, and you've got let's see. Oh yeah, you've got Battle of the Super Sons coming out, which will be CG.
Yeah. And also the new Aquaman series. They have a new Aquaman animated series.
I have seen some of that.
That's also on HBO Max right now. So if you want to watch it, you can.
Have you watched that, Keith?
Not yet. Not yet.
I didn't know how good it was. So, and I apologize for being this way, but my love of Aquaman really stems to the Batman Brave and the Bold cartoon. I love that Aquaman. That Aquaman is just perfect. I mean,
well, this animated cartoon series is meant for younger kids.
Right. All right.
And so this is more of that goodness. I mean, if you are a fan of of Jason Momoa's Aquaman movie, then here's an animated series that kind of plays within that universe,
Right.
but it's an animated series meant for younger kids. Well, it could be watched by the entire family. Let's just say.
Right.
So it's
right.
going to be great. And it's Aquaman and Mera, and it expands that entire universe. And speaking of which, that was also one of the other things that, excuse me, that they had going for DC Fandome that weekend, because you got a chance to see some behind the scenes of Jason Momoa,
right,
filming his next Aquaman film, Aquaman 2, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Right. And that was interesting. There's some interesting things with that behind the scenes.
Yes. Well, let's just put it this way. Everybody is back for Aquaman 2.
Right.
So, I mean, this is it's just going to be more of what we enjoyed the first time around. So if you really liked that first Aquaman film, get set, because they're about to give you that and then some. So,
well, and Black Manta looks amazing in that. I mean, just right on exactly what you would think from the comics.
Black Manta, Orm,
yeah.
Everybody just looks good.
Yeah,
everybody just looks good. They look like they're having a great time.
Exactly, which that makes it a lot more fun. I mean, if you're having a good time and you're putting out a great movie, that's even better.
James Wan is just doing a fantastic job with all that stuff.
Yes, he is. Yep. All right. Well, let's before we get into any of the other movies here, let's talk about some of the series that they talked about.
Yes.
Just to kind of, so people kind of know what's going on. So they announced the Blue Beetle series that is upcoming, but they didn't do much more than show a picture from what I saw. And the picture looks cool. Now, I'm more of a Ted Kord Blue Beetle guy, but that's because I'm old school. But this looks good. But it's hard to know what's going to happen in the series. The suit looks good, I guess.
Let me just say this: any of you who are fans of Smallville, the people behind Smallville had put together a little bit of a teaser for when they were thinking about launching Blue Beetle a few years back.
Yeah.
And ever since then, the character has really taken off in comics again. Right. He is now a valued and essential member of the team. And I think part of the plot for last season's Young Justice revolved around Blue Beetle. So having a live action series, I still got to pinch myself sometimes, I do.
I get that.
I gotta.
Is this going to be a Berlanti series?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a Berlanti series.
So we can expect a lot of CW teen problems going on. Oh, I can't tell her this.
Well, yeah, and
we'll be talking about 8 seasons, right?
Well, look, Jaime Reyes is a character that has been a long time coming, and he's been around for much longer than even I had realized. I mean, it only seems like yesterday they were introducing him, but he's been around quite a few years now. My hope,
wasn't it?
Say what?
It was the 90s when he was introduced. Is that right?
90s, mid to late 90s.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
I was hoping, though, that this new series would allow them to also have Ted Kord in it.
Now, that would be a really good, if you could do that somehow, I think that would be awesome.
Well, that's the thing. They kind of set it up kind of within the DC Comics anyway. A lot of what people enjoyed about the more recent Spider-Man movies, and specifically his relationship with Tony Stark, that pretty much mirrored what you had with Blue Beetle between Jaime Reyes and Ted Kord. That's all I'm saying.
until Ted Cord was killed.
Well,
right?
and now he's back.
Now he's back, right? So because nobody dies. I mean, they die. You go with people, stop doing comics for them, and then all of a sudden they're back. The longest running ones were. I mean, you still have people like. You've got Gwen Stacy who's still dead. Uncle Ben is still dead, but
Yes.
not too many other people. I mean, every X-Men in the world has died at least once and come back.
Bruce's parents are still gone.
Bruce's parents are still gone. That's true. Yeah. Krypton is still gone with Clark's parents. So there you go. So yeah, I mean, there's some of those, but death's not something that stays around, and it's always been that way with bad guys. I mean, you would. Oh, like, well, they got killed doing whatever they did over here, and then, not really dead. Anyway, we digress here. So we got that one. So that one does look cool. We have, of course, the new season of Titans looks like it's wrapping up. And they had a trailer for the last of that. It just feels like it's too much focus on Batman, and I'm like, good gravy. Can we do Titans as a group here? I mean, and I know they've got some of the characters wrong in the way the ages are and everything else. And there's problems with it, but I haven't hated it. But season 3 has just been a dredge for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I bring, and of course, then you killed my favorite character in the season 2. So that wasn't really making me happy anyway, because Donna Troy has always been my favorite. Anyway.
I agree with you. I do. I think that Titans is a little bit of a disappointment, and even though it is a Berlanti show, the person who actually is in charge of it is the man who is going to be bringing us the new Star Trek series. And I just think that, oh man, his name escapes me now. Goldsman? Yeah. So he's the guy that's in charge of both Titans and Doom Patrol. And
Doom Patrol, though, Doom Patrol is always weird and crazy, but that's kind of how the comics have always been.
Well, up to a point.
Normal.
This version of Doom Patrol is actually based on a particular run of the comics.
Right.
And while I do enjoy the writing of the show, this was not my favorite iteration of the group. Right. I'm a big fan of the original Doom Patrol.
Yes. Yeah.
And wouldn't have minded if the show had been just that. But and really technically it is, because all you need to do is get rid of one character and it's all classic Doom Patrol. Right. But I like well-balanced show, well-written show.
Yeah.
Akiva Goldsman, that's his name. Yeah. Who is the guy that also is overseeing Titans. He does a really good job.
Yes.
But again, I'm not the biggest overall fan of his writing, because it seems like Doom Patrol found its niche.
Yeah.
And that to a certain extent Titans is still looking. And I think part of that is derived from the fact that you have someone like Akiva Goldsman who's just writing what he wants. He uses pieces and parts of the comics to create what he wants.
Right.
But he's doing what he wants. He's not actually serving the comics or its fans, or else you'd have a lot more new characters and be able to do a lot more things with it. Because there are a lot of Titans characters that you could invite into the show that would really make this one of the best shows on TV. And for whatever reason, either they're not wanting to use them, or, as I would like to say, they probably don't know they exist. So,
well, the Titans, the Teen Titans of the 70s had had two different groups going on, an East Coast and a West Coast. They had a lot of really interesting, bizarre characters. The popularity of the series really took off with the new Teen Titans in the '80s, with
and that's the
working
one
with
that they're
Paris.
focused on.
Yeah, it
And
is.
unfortunately, they aged up a couple of characters.
They did, and aged
and
down Raven. Yeah,
yeah, they aged down Raven by a lot.
right.
And to me, I'm a big fan of just if a character is a particular age, just go ahead and allow that character to be a part of the series at the proper age. Raven's a character that is not emo.
Right.
she's just not. But there are now people that only see her that way because that's the way they want to do her because of the animated series, and that's fine. I mean, to each their own.
Yeah. I was super excited season 2 when they brought it down to Troy. I'll just be honest. I was like, oh my gosh, we're finally getting Wonder Girl. She's been left out of all the cartoons and everything else. Wonder Girl is back. Oh, thank God. And then we kill her.
Yeah.
In a stupid way. I'm like, oh, bang my head against the wall. And anyway, we won't worry about that. But that is it's both of those are out there. HBO Max, you can catch them both. So tell me about DMZ, because I really have no idea. I saw a little blurb on that. I don't know what this is. And I'm assuming it's based on a comic. I just don't know the comic.
Let's see, DMZ. That is oh man. You know what? I'm not as familiar with that one as myself. Again, I'm an older DC fan. But if I remember correctly, DMZ is that's from Ava DuVernay, and it's going to be an HBO Max series.
Right. Yes, it is.
And let's see. It is an apocalyptic series that is going to star Rosario Dawson, who a lot of you may remember from the Marvel films that were on Netflix, and Benjamin Bratt.
Yeah.
And it's a series that takes place in the future where America is caught up in a civil war. And so, the story of fractured people that come together and free states of America versus the United States of America. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
And again, it's Ava DuVernay getting another opportunity to operate within the DC universe since the New Gods didn't really go anywhere for her.
Right.
And again, I love Ava DuVernay.
Mm-hmm.
I wish she were interested in bringing, Mal and his wife to life. Bumblebee and et al. Would be in my opinion, a better television series to actually see as a live action series.
Yeah.
But that's just me, So
those are two great characters. I'm with you. Two Titans right there.
Of course.
Really that have been kind of lost in time, that weren't focused much in the 80s, and they're characters that were right out of that 70s that we were talking about, that had such great, bizarre, interesting characters. And I would love to see something done with Harlequin. Not Harley Quinn.
But Harlequin. Yeah.
Yeah, the Joker's daughter. Or is it Two-Face's daughter? Or
I would like to see something with the original Batgirl.
Yeah. Yes. For those of us that know that there was a Batgirl before Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, Barbara Gordon's actually the second Batgirl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the original Batgirl was the partner her name was Betty Kane.
Yep.
And Betty was also a member of the Teen Titans for a bit.
She was.
And she was also just really good at what she did. I mean, again, as I said earlier, there are so many characters.
Mm-hmm.
So many characters. I mean, Titans could be an even bigger show than it actually is if they would just dip into that. But again, I'm not running the show. They don't have me in charge.
Not yet.
Well, yeah, given what's about to happen, I might actually get a shot.
Hey, you know what? They would be smart to put you in a position of power to make those kind of decisions. And I would be glad to help you. Because I may not know as much about DC as you do, but I know a lot. And I would be, and because I do come from a father who collected Silver Age and Bronze Age comics and even collects now. So I know, I remember reading a lot of those things. So anyway, but yeah. Some other things, of course, Legends, they did a thing on the 100 episodes in 100 seconds. And Legends I always find fun, but I take it not serious at all. That's why I can take it fun. Mm-hmm. Even though I think Adam is just because Adam from the comic books is actually a really cool character.
Yes,
he is. Of Adam is a really cool storyline where he goes off and finds the whole miniature. That thing's just an interesting story.
Well, I can think of another reason why he's no longer on Legends. I think they were clearing the way because Adam is a part of the Snyderverse.
Oh, well, that would be interesting.
Well, you know he's in Justice League.
Ray Palmer's in Justice League?
No, the second Adam.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Because now I can't think of his name.
He's actually working with Dr. Stone.
Okay, that's right. I did know that. I knew the name. I just couldn't place it. But okay, yeah, the second Adam. Yes.
And remember, you don't get placed in these movies to just be name dropped. Given some of the changes, look. There was a plot, an idea, a script outline for Justice League 2 and 3 that Zack Snyder had. He has officially scrapped it.
Oh.
Okay? He came up with something else. Now, Justice League 2 and 3 will not be what we've read about online.
Right.
It's going to be different. That also means that there is now room to add more characters into the Justice League. So when we see Justice League 2 and 3, we're probably going to see the Atom.
Right.
We're probably even going to see Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
That'd be interesting.
And Green Lantern. In fact, we might see multiple Green Lanterns. And there's really nothing that says that we can't have a fully stocked Justice League headed into Justice League 3.
That's true. Now, that would be interesting, especially if they try to keep it in continuity with Shazam and Black Adam bringing in Hawkman after he's going to be part of the Justice Society. So, of course, they may go ahead and tell how he transcends that and all that information.
Well, that's what Michael Keaton's for. Michael Keaton's original purpose is still on track. Okay? He's still signed to do what he was originally hired to do, which is he will be the point man. He will be, even as Batman, but he will be the point man for the multiverse.
Nice.
And he will be the one bringing everyone together.
You know, Keith, if they did a Justice League, Justice Society team up like they used to do, dude, I would be just. Those are my favorite Justice League comics of all time.
Guess what?
What?
You got something in common with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
I do love that.
That's what he is angling to do.
See, if we can do that, that would just be incredible.
The only reason why the Justice Society is really getting used is because the people that were in control are currently in control of everything DC. Wanted to they instituted a policy of just basically trying to create anything that made sure that the Snyderverse didn't exist anymore.
Right.
Okay. Well, now that the new people are coming in to take over, a lot of that stuff will probably be changed to go the other way because the Snyderverse, for all intents and purposes, is back.
Right.
And
that kind of money, that kind of
and Dwayne Johnson has been arguing with these people for the longest time.
He has been.
And so now I'm thinking, yeah, he's going to get what he wants.
Right.
He's going to be allowed to mix what he's bringing to the table with what Zack Snyder wants to do. And the rumor is there is a certain person who was hinted at in the last Shazam movie who may actually be making an appearance. I'm not saying who it is, but if you saw the last Shazam movie, you might have an idea.
Yep.
Which brings us to Flash, the movie The Flash.
So before we go there, we've got a couple comments from AJ. So I just want to throw these up here for us. She says hello to us, and she's on as the KeekyKOOL. I know that does happen. Isn't sure why my profile, but it's AJ. And I told her hi, and she said she can't watch long, but want to say hi to both of us. We're thinking about you, AJ. We miss you.
Miss you.
Thank you for stopping by, and we just send our hugs and love to you, girl.
Oh, yes. All the time.
Yeah. So, all right. So we just got talking about going into the Flash movie. So, all right. Which there was a trailer on, which is one of the things that people are really anticipating was this trailer. And it looks pretty awesome. It did kind of leave you, you're like, why didn't you just show the Batmobile? Everybody knows that's what's under the seat. But, I'm thinking to myself, I'm hoping and praying it's the original Michael Keaton Batmobile.
It is.
That's because that's my favorite Batmobile. But,
for a lot of people. And again, this movie is going to be special in more ways than one. This movie also was made to go either way, meaning that for the people who are currently running DC, it can be seen as something kind of sort of outside the Snyderverse.
Right.
But for the people that will be taking over, it can technically be in the Snyderverse.
Right.
So it's going to be fun. And look, I know there were some people who were very upset or at least didn't like the look of Supergirl for this movie.
Yep.
Hopefully you got the memo as to actually who this is.
Okay, I've not got the memo.
Okay. Michael Keaton's Batman.
Right.
There actually is a Superman in his universe.
Right.
Okay. And it's the Christopher Reeve Superman. They're going to say that they're both in the same universe.
That does my heart so well.
So this Supergirl is actually the daughter of Kal-El and Lois Lane in that universe.
So it's not, which is interesting because of how Superman 2 ends. But anyway,
well, there have been a few years since. Superman 2 is even years before even Batman came out. So
you're exactly right. It's just with the whole kissing so she forgets, and he doesn't want to lose his powers. Anyway, but no, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Well, plus
I can go with that.
Well, wait a minute, Larry. It also depends on which version of Superman 2 you're talking about.
Well, you're right. You're exactly right. Because I've seen the
Donner version.
Yes,
the original Donner version, which is really the original Superman 2.
Right. Yeah. I've seen that, so yeah, you're right. I'd go back to thinking of the theater version just because that's what I'd seen.
That's what you saw. Yeah, that's what everybody saw.
Right. So that's what I go back to. But yeah, that's interesting. I did not pick that up. That will be fascinating with being Superman's daughter. So no, and of course they had a Supergirl also. Helen Slater. The movie's horrible. The cast is great. Helen Slater did the best she could. She's a great lady. I just think the world of her. I've met her at Planet Comic-Con, and the nicest celebrity I've ever met. And Weird Al Yankovic's right up there with her. But she's because he's awesome. But she's the nicest thing. And but her Supergirl, I mean, yeah, the movie's bad, but her Supergirl was good. So anyway, we'll move on.
Here's the thing. I think we're also going to see. There will be an opportunity to have, I think, even have Helen Slater be a part of this if they're able to work it out. Now, remember, right now, I think they're still trying to finish up Flash. Okay,
right.
In the time, anytime before this movie comes out officially in the theaters, there is still time to actually make adjustments, make alterations, depending on when the current people in charge of DC are no longer there.
Right.
So the new people that will be in charge of everything will have the opportunity to do whatever they want. And after everything that happened with Justice League being converted into Justice League,
right,
you can always do stuff in post-production and film new scenes or add new things. So a lot of this stuff can be basically redone to fit the new format or the new view of DC from here on out. It's the reason why a lot of you skeptics out there that are saying, oh no, the Snyderverse is dead because Ann Sarnoff says, yeah, Ann Sarnoff is one of the people losing their jobs. So yeah, it's true until it's not. So
hold it. The little heartbeat still going on there. Not quite dead yet, sir. In fact, I'm feeling better. That'll be interesting. I didn't really understand what the spray paint for the yellow. I'm guessing it's from the lightning on the boots or something.
Yeah, that's because there's going to be two Flashes in this movie.
Right.
Okay. I think, again, for all you who saw the Snyder Cut, you can see how powerful Barry is. Well, there's going to be more than one Barry in the movie. And for those of you that saw the Flash trailer, ta-da!
There you go.
So it's Barry, and Supergirl.
Yep.
With the help of Batman. Oh, and
Batman.
It's
hard to go wrong with that, right? The problem I can see with two Batman, they're both going to think they're in charge.
To a point. I look at it this way. If Michael Keaton is going into all these different versions of Earth and he's recruiting all these heroes, because I personally would like to think that Michael Keaton might end up playing a part in getting us back to Justice League 2.
Yeah. Yes.
Possibly even Justice League 3.
Yes.
And so, again, I'm just saying, Darkseid has a lot of foot soldiers. That is a lot of people. If you're going to fight a war with him and he's on the way, you better make sure you have enough people to oppose him, because he's definitely not going to play fair. He's not going to fight fair. So the reason I keep telling people, there could be more than one Green Lantern in that next Justice League movie.
Right.
So don't be so surprised if John Stewart brings his friend Hal Jordan with him for this next adventure. So
no, I'm with you. Yeah, there could be several, because they're going to need them.
Yeah. Look, you're going to have that. You're probably even going to have Green Arrow.
Yeah.
And Black Canary, and they're more than likely are going to recast. Sorry, fans of Birds of Prey, because that falls outside of the Snyderverse, and the person that will be taking over everything is not a fan of the non-Snyderverse stuff. And that movie didn't make that much money, so see you bye.
Yeah. Well, and we could talk about the problems of that movie, but let's move on. So let's move on, because we were talking about Legends, but that kind of got us there. Legends. are they in their last season? Is that what's going on?
I think so. They are
think so
going to be
too.
in their last season.
So, and we were talking about Adam. That kind of is what got us off there because I'm like, Adam is just a second-rate Tony Stark who can shrink himself.
Unfortunately.
And which is not Brandon Roth's fault because I love Brandon Roth. I loved him as Superman. I loved him as on this series just because he has a very likable personality. So I just think he's a cool dude. I hate to see him not be given his due, but the writing for Adam sucks. But besides that, as long as you can kind of suspend belief and kind of go with Legends, I'm fine with Legends. I sometimes I'll just sit and watch 5 or 6 episodes just to kind of, I'm like, okay, now I've wasted a day. All right, now what am I going to do? But another show coming is called Naomi, and I know it's based off of a series, a comic book series, but it was very short-lived. And Naomi's a huge Superman fan because he was adopted, and so is she. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. Naomi was, as you said, it was a short-lived comic, but this will be a CW series.
Right.
Okay. And Brian Michael Bendis, after he came to DC from Marvel, was the one who created this particular character.
And you're welcome for that, by the way.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
As a Marvel fan, I don't think we're like, okay, you did some cool stuff. I mean, the Jessica Jones stuff was really cool. Okay, see you later. All right.
Well, and this is also another show produced by Ava DuVernay.
Right.
But it's about a young girl who's adopted, and she becomes obsessed with Superman after he makes a brief visit to her town.
Right.
And in learning of his humble origins as an adoptee, she decides to seek out the truth of her own birth and discover something pretty out of this world.
So I'm curious what the out of this world is because I'm like, okay, it seems like a typical CW premise with just set in the superhero world, which
it's
an interesting take, but
it's Brian Michael Bendis doing for DC what he was able to do for Spider-Man when he was at Marvel.
Okay. Well, I'm not against it. I'm just curious about it because it was something that I didn't know about. Now tell me, Keith.
Yeah.
Think back to high school. Okay.
Yes.
Because it's been just a couple of years for you and me both. We're shortly out of high school, just like I don't know what 5 years or something.
For you, it's probably been 5 or 6 years. For me, it's definitely been at least 20 or more. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, mine is the more. Somebody was talking to me about what year it would be for my college graduation the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh, will you stop it? I don't want to hear about that. That's not possible. It's like 1993, isn't it? Because it can't be that long ago. I don't know. Anyway, so think back to our high school days. What would happen? You're sitting in class, and all of a sudden you get the information that Superman is in town or something, and you grabbed your skateboard and rode it out of the school by just telling the teacher, "Gotta go." What would happen to you?
Well, college, nothing much.
High school, yes.
A whole lot.
Yeah. And then the other question is, those doors are pretty well watched for high schools nowadays. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's not like it was when we were in school where the doors didn't have to be watched as much. Other than for people trying to go outside and smoke or do whatever they're going to do. But yeah, I know that I would have been suspended from school for doing that. Been yelled at by my family. Of course, our principal was quite a joy, so he would have had a great time with that one. So I can only imagine, but I'm watching her do that in the trailer and went, that can't happen. I don't care if there's superheroes in this world or not. That
Yeah.
can't happen. I don't know, but unfortunately, that's what I came out of the I'm like, well, looks interesting. Looks interesting. What in the world? You've took me out of everything because of this, and it's a cool looking little scene, but I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that can't happen. So.
There's not much I can say. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you.
But so let's talk about another series. Now, this one I'm 100% in on, and I have no hesitation saying this. And this one's going to be one that you cannot watch with the kids. But Peacemaker, I'm in. I'm in.
Oh man! Oh man!
That was probably some of my favorite parts of the Suicide Squad was Peacemaker. And the fact you're bringing him into its own series, and in the trailer, he shows up to the restaurant with the eagle in the backseat of his car. I'm like, and then you've got Vigilante, who is a very underutilized character that I like. And I'm like, I'm so in on this. This is going to be just stupid fun. But I'm in.
You know what? I will say this. This is... You know what really won me over is the fact that this is a James Gunn television show.
It is, yes.
So again, I'm automatically in because you got to support Missouri talent. And so the way I look at it is everybody within the sound of our voices, everybody watching this right now should definitely watch Peacemaker and help make this a really, really fun series.
Unless you're under the age of 13 and your parents are very concerned about what you view, because if that's true, this is not the show for you. But if you're of age, then this looks like a ton of fun.
Yes, this is going to be so much fun. Look, the cast right now is made up of people who, not just John Cena.
Yeah,
but at least two of the actors that were in the Suicide Squad, the James Gunn film, and then they've added more characters.
They have,
and I'm really excited about seeing Robert Patrick. In this because I'm a big Robert Patrick fan, but I just think this entire cast looks like it's just the writing is going to match very well with the kind of humor and writing that we're used to from James Gunn. And remember, with this series, he not only managed to get the Suicide Squad filmed in the can and out into the theaters and then worked on this show, he was able to turn around and not only complete the script for Guardians 3, but also wrote a Guardians Christmas special.
Which I'm still looking forward to.
And is filming both of them back to back.
Yep.
So he's talented. He's super busy. And I know this is a whole DC Fandome thing, but you got to at least admire this guy's talent. I mean, I know I just talked about a couple of Marvel things, but you got to admire this guy's talent.
Well, and he is a big name who has delivered. He has brought characters to life that other people just wouldn't have touched. Polka Dot Man, Rat Girl, or what?
Ratcatcher.
Ratcatcher.
It's actually Ratcatcher 2.
Yeah, no, because her dad was Ratcatcher 1.
Yeah.
So, and people wouldn't touch these characters with a 10-foot pole. He brings them in. He did the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody was touching those characters. Nobody was going to touch Rocket or any of those guys. And he made them enjoyable. He brought it to where you wanted to root for him. I mean, it was sad to me when Polka Dot Man dies in the Suicide Squad, because I'm like,
spoilers.
Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry, I spoiled.
But you got to also understand, we just got through a few minutes ago talking about Kite Man, and now we're talking about Polka Dot Man.
You're right. You're right. You're making these characters that showed up as these off-color characters in the 50s and 60s, and also these characters can be fun if you do them right. But you're exactly right. So yeah, another series that I'm having fun with. I'm already having fun with now. It is more family friendly. That's Stargirl, and I'm
Yeah.
really digging Stargirl. I really like it. I don't know if you like it or if you've seen it, Keith, but it's definitely a CW feel to it,
It
but
is.
it's still a lot of fun.
You know what? If you enjoy Stargirl, you go ahead and enjoy it. The trailer for season 2
Yep,
looked amazing for
it
this
did.
show.
Yes.
I, to be completely upfront, I'm not the biggest fan, but that's
No, I get it.
because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the comic books and
Yeah.
especially of the Justice Society.
No, right.
And aside from Stargirl, none of those other characters truly exist. Her friends being the new Justice, yeah, that doesn't happen. You know,
Nope.
I am not a fan of the Juice Box Justice League. I'm sorry,
Well,
I'm not.
so what I'm taking that for is I'm kind of taking it as their version of Infinity Inc. And that's really kind of so that's where I was at with it. But and we know that we get to see the original Doctor Midnight show up in
Mhm.
season 2. So I'm interested to see what they do with it. So, but I'm having fun. So yeah, and that's okay. I knew you may not like it as much as I do. Again, it's just something because I know you're not a fan of Legends either, but it's just something that I can watch and I don't have to focus too hard on it. But I'm like, man, that's just fun. All right, I'm good with that. So, um, all right. One more
Well,
television show that they talked about, and this one's over on Netflix, and that's The Sandman.
oh yeah. Let me just tell you. I know that there are some changes that they made with this.
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand. In
Right.
fact, I'm kind of sort of with the people that are not happy about it. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I trust Neil Gaiman
Right.
and I trust the people that they've brought in. All the actors are top notch.
Yes, they are.
So I'm willing to give this interpretation a chance. And
Well,
I'm
and the
willing to
fact
sit
that
down and watch it.
Neil Gaiman wrote the original series, and it was a pretty long series, and it's one that I never read, but I had friends that really loved it. But I
Mm-hmm.
was always kind of intrigued by the idea of it. So but the idea that you've got Neil Gaiman coming in and basically having a hand in this, I'm like, well, okay, if he was not involved, and then they're just making changes willy nilly, then you're like, oh, here we go again. But the fact that he's involved and they're making the changes, I'm like, all right, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We'll check it out. It has the tone feel that the comic book does, at least from the trailer. So we'll see if that continues. But I'm interested in it for sure.
Well, and again, I'm speaking as speaking both as a fan,
Yeah,
but also the father of a daughter who loved these books.
yeah,
Um, and then of the spinoff stuff
right,
that DC has done within that universe and introducing
right.
new characters and everything else. I like it. I love it. It's great stuff. I am a big fan of the Sandman comics
Mm-hmm.
and of that entire universe. But it's not for everyone.
Right,
Some of that stuff
right.
can get kind of intense.
Yep.
Some of the
A little
subject
on the
matter
dark
can
side.
get kind of intense.
Yes, it
But
can.
if it's something that you want to watch and experience, and if you've had enough of the normal comic book stuff and you want to try something completely different, Sandman might just be what you're looking for. Uh, this is a different kind of story,
Right.
and what Sandman proved is that anthology stories can work.
Yes, exactly.
So
Exactly.
this is going to be cool.
I,
This is going to be very cool.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. So,
I'm very interested. I mean, they've been releasing pictures, individual mini posters of the
Yes.
cast.
Yes.
And Gwendolyn Christie.
As Lucifer? No.
You know.
She's, who is she? She's...
Lucifer.
She is Lucifer. Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I was right. Okay.
This should be interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
This is this is definitely look, for those that don't know, the character of Lucifer in the Sandman, important character. This is also tied to the Lucifer television series, right? Because the Sandman is where that version of Lucifer was introduced. Right. So the Lucifer television series, which is also, I think, in its final season, came out of the Sandman comics. And John Constantine is also a part of all that. And I think he might even be, as a character, a part of this. I think John Constantine is also a part of this. And I think they went ahead and changed his gender also. So Constantine will be a woman for this, which is an interesting take on things.
It's a very interesting take on things.
But again, I'm interested. I want to see it. I want to check it out. I love the original comic, and I'm hoping to be as entertained with this adaptation, this particular version of the comic. So,
yeah.
Although we haven't exactly finished all the television stuff, there's one more show that we skipped over.
Okay, well, tell me what I'm missing.
We went behind the scenes and got a chance to at least see some of the set, the main set for Superman and Lois.
Okay, no, I did not see information on that. All right.
And we got a chance to see some of the hidden stuff, especially with the Kent home. We learned that at least one of the actors has taken one of the drawers in the kitchen and turned it into their own personal drawer of stuff that they've hidden.
I love it.
Look, if you haven't watched Superman and Lois yet, do it. This is a really good adaptation of this character. It's a slightly different version of Superman, but I mean, if you can go with it, the family dynamic, everything that they've done within the contents and the confines of this show have been spot on. And not everything's been perfect, but for the most part, I would give this like an 8.5.
Sure. That's
on average. It is an 8.5 type show, and definitely the kind of show that you can watch with the entire family.
Right. All right. Well, that brings us through the television. Want to hit a couple of the video games that they mentioned. And you can add in there if there's more. The Gotham Knights. Now, this looks like it's a continuation of the Arkham games, or it's in that kind of style. But it looks interesting. Batman's not around, and so you basically have the rest of the Bat family showing up to.
Yeah, it's you have your choice in the game to play either Nightwing, Dick Grayson, or Red Hood, or Batgirl, or Robin. And basically, you are protecting Gotham, with Batman not there,
right?
And it's it's reminiscent of the kinds of moves and stuff that you got out of the Arkham games,
right?
But the thing that's really cool is rather than mimic a lot of those moves, these characters have their own individual combination of moves that they get to use while they're fighting,
right?
Which really makes this cool.
That is good, because it'll that changes things up and lets you explore some different areas there. And I'll have to say, if I was going to play this, and I very well might, I'd definitely start off with Barbara Gordon because she's always been my favorite of that group. So
You know what? I can see that. I'm a Nightwing fan, so
no, I
I'll
get
probably
that.
end up playing Nightwing.
I like Nightwing. He's probably on that list. He's number 2, but Batgirl, I don't know. One, it's my fascination with redheads. Two, it's two, Barbara is just a cool character. So
She is.
especially from coming back from all she's done. But by the way, for those that don't know, the Hall of Justice there behind Keith. Now that he's gone to visual, which is actually in Cincinnati. It's not really.
Yes, it is. But, State of Ohio. That's what I'm telling you.
We were talking beforehand, and I got it confused and said Cleveland, and got schooled on my geography that they're on opposite sides of the state. But at least I got the right state right. I hit the right state, and that's 1 out of 50 chance I got the right one.
Here's the other thing you got to remember about the Natty. It's actually the birth home of Steven Spielberg.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So
did not.
There you go. And yes, the Natty is the home to the real Hall of Justice. They got it. So when they had the end of the season last season for The Flash, they had to come to Cincinnati to at least film some of that. So
right, which is awesome.
And the real Central City is in Ohio. I know there was a comic book guy in the 80s that kind of placed it somewhere in the Midwest, but it's in Ohio, kids.
Well,
do your homework.
Ohio's considered the Midwest.
Well, I mean, he tried to place it somewhere on the Missouri-Kansas border.
Right.
And while, again, living in Missouri, love it, but Central City's in Ohio.
Right.
For 2 reasons. One, because the city that was the actual inspiration for Central City is in Ohio.
Right.
Second reason is, according to Zack Snyder and Justice League, Central City is in Ohio. So
there you go. There you go.
Hey, look, Ohio, it's so much fun. They went ahead and, filmed Avengers here. And
it's true. And it usually determines who becomes president. Ohio.
And Captain America, Winter Soldier. So
Ohio. I did not know that one. So there you go. The other video game that I saw something on was the Suicide Squad
kills Justice
League. Now, we saw a trailer for this last year at Fandom. And
they ended up, I think,
got me excited last year.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any progress. I didn't see anything new with this. Did I just miss that? Was there anything
Well,
new
I think they ended up not releasing the game, I think. And they ended up doing some additional work on it.
Sure.
Because, they didn't want to release a game that nobody wanted to play. Avengers. Sorry. But it's just, they wanted to make sure it was good and that it was tight technically and had no bugs in it. Avengers. Sorry. And
and I've played Avengers. I know what you're talking about. I will say, though, Spider-Man, that's a fine game. So
Spider-Man is a fine game. And if the people that made Spider-Man were working on Avengers, sorry. Anyway.
So were there any other video game announcements that I missed there, Keith?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I think those are the only 2. Well, let's go in and talk about the movie announcements or the movie trailers or clips or just sometimes it was just talk. But we'll start off at the top with one that has me super excited because it not only has the man in it, it has the Justice League or Justice Society in there also. So we're talking about Black Adam. That trailer looks awesome.
This is the reason why it has taken so long to start work on this movie. And again, that only goes to show you how dedicated Dwayne Johnson is not only to this character, but how much of a DC fan he actually is.
Yeah.
I mean, normally when actors say that they're a fan of this or a fan of that, yeah, they're going to say that because,
Right.
they're getting paid. They're getting a paycheck. But you know what? I believe that Dwayne Johnson speaks the truth. I think he really is a DC fan.
Now, Dwayne Johnson, with being amazingly athletic, this guy which could rip you apart, he is a huge nerd and geek. And I love that about him.
Yeah.
He plays D&D.
Yes.
He reads comic books.
Yes.
He knows these characters. It's just cool that he wants to be Black Adam, and he's making it happen.
You know that again, this is nothing against anyone else, but you notice you got 3 nerds who all are physical specimens.
Yes.
Dwayne Johnson.
Yep.
Joe Manganiello.
Yep.
And Henry Cavill.
Yep.
DC. All I can say is it doesn't matter. Just if you're gonna nerd right. To your heart's content.
Right.
Oh,
I'm with you.
And I'm excited about the possibilities now. Now that things are looking like they will probably be back on track sometime around this time next year.
Right.
I'm excited about the possibilities of what's ahead for DC. If what I'm hearing on the side is also going to be going down, we may actually even start to be excited for some upcoming plans with DC Comics.
Well, there we
go.
But
are
they putting you in charge of it?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Well, I know that you would run it right. So
I have some ideas and some new characters that we could add in. So
I would love that. And bring some old characters that aren't touched much back too. So
first thing I would do is just give John Stewart his own monthly. Yeah. His own solo monthly.
He should have had that a long time ago.
Long time ago.
There was a point when Hal Jordan wasn't around for various reasons. The Green Lantern comic was all about John Stewart, and he really should have kept his own. And they should have had 2 different comics going on because I mean, as much as I love Hal, John Stewart is probably the much superior Green Lantern.
Well, that's the thing. I think out of all of the Earth Green Lanterns, each of the original 4.
Yep.
Each one has something that makes them unique. And in many ways, they are like the A-Team.
Yeah, that's true.
John Stewart really is Hannibal.
Right.
And
Hal would be...
Guy Gardner would definitely
Murdoch.
be BA.
Well, I thought Guy Gardner would be more like Murdoch. I don't know.
No, he would be BA.
But maybe he's BA, but he can't back it up like BA could.
and then Hal would be Templeton.
Yeah,
he would be Templeton Peck. He would be Face.
Yeah, he would be.
And
Face.
then that would leave. Oh man, I can't believe I keep forgetting that dude's name.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm embarrassed because I can't remember the final guy's name. But I mean, seriously, if you're going to do Green Lantern, I would really just do a Green Lantern book that are focused on the original 4 Green Lanterns and have all the other lanterns make cameo appearances or guest appearances.
Right.
Because I would like to build up the relationship of those 4 because they are such deep characters. There's a lot to be gained from having all of them in their own book together as individuals because of the complex relationships that they have.
Right.
So,
That's good.
But that's just Green Lantern. Bumblebee would definitely be getting her own monthly.
Right.
Bumblebee and Mal would definitely be something that I would invest a lot of energy into, you know.
And I would say in that comic throw Lilith in there, I would love that. So because
Well, I
Lilith
would.
is a really interesting character that gets underused. So
Certain fans might not like me because what I would do is I would have not just Lilith there, but I think Raven would be there.
Oh, yeah.
But not the way she is, but the way she originally was.
Right.
So I would make Raven, you know, a 21-year-old girl with a lot of problems.
Right.
But not with a lot of problems, but who keeps to herself, basically.
Right.
Who's more of a loner. And I would team her up with Lilith, who would be able to help her through some of that.
Right. Oh, that's good. I like that. All right.
I've had time to think.
Well, I know. That's why I said you would be fantastic. And again, I would be your great second man, though. So
I'd invite you in anytime, dude. I know you'd have a lot of great ideas.
And you know, I'm an idea guy. That's where I go. I'm also a writer. I can write. But so I do like to write. So I would be loving to write comics. So but I'm the idea guy. I'm out there. So we would have a great time shooting ideas constantly. So anyway, we digress. Let's get back a little bit. So we're talking about Black Adam. The trailer looks amazing. I'm super stoked for that. You've got along with that, you got Shazam trailer and the behind the scenes stuff there with Shazam Fury of the Gods. And I'm telling you, who knew older ladies could be so kick-ass, right?
Right. Right.
But my gosh, they scare me.
Well, here's the other thing, though. You got to realize now, Shazam Fury of the Gods basically takes us, it's a sequel to Shazam.
Right.
And that was a film that a lot of people really loved.
Yes.
Even I was surprised at how much I really loved that film.
Yeah.
I liked the cast. I liked the writing. Oh man. I mean, that was just a fun movie. And if not for certain people at Warner Brothers, we may have even had a cameo by,
Superman.
Henry.
Yep.
But that's fine. That's fine. But look, overall, I think if you can have a film where Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu could be there kicking butt and taking names, and oh, wow. I mean, here's a little trivia for you fans out there. This movie will mark Helen Mirren's third DC movie. Third.
So what were the other two?
Red and Red 2.
Okay. I was going to say, if you've seen her in Red, that's what I was going to say. If you've seen her in Red, she should scare you because Red 2 are great movies. Yeah, I did know that they were in the DC universe. I kind of forgot about it momentarily, but yeah.
Yeah, both with this movie, she and John Malkovich tie for 3. Mm-hmm. They have both made 3 DC films.
And Malkovich was in both Red movies also.
Yep.
What else has he been in?
Jonah Hex.
That's right. He was in Jonah Hex. Okay.
Along with Michael Fassbender.
Yes, he was. Before he was
X-Men.
Magneto.
Before he was Magneto.
Yep. So, all right. Interesting. But no,
I know.
That looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited. And I think, Zach Levi brings in that fun attitude where he can play like he's thinking like a kid, and which I think is awesome.
Yes.
So, and so that makes that's actually really perfect with Shazam. So my question is,
yes,
because I don't know this, do they actually name him in this movie, and do they call him Shazam? And if so, what are the rest of the names of the group? Because I'm curious. Because my thought was, how can you have a Captain Marvel Jr. if you have no Captain Marvel? Or do you call him Captain Marvel? And because technically the movie's called Shazam, so the character could be Captain Marvel, from my understanding of how things work, just like the television show was, and many other things where they called him Captain Marvel originally. But I just get stuck on the whole. We're going to call him Shazam. I'm like, but that's the name he says. That doesn't make any sense to me. If he says his own name, he's going to turn back. I don't understand. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. But do you know what the characters' names are going to be? Is it going to be Mary Marvel? Is it going to be?
Okay.
So you don't know.
Here's the thing. As according to the credits,
Yep.
Zachary Levi will be Shazam.
Okay.
Okay. But Jack Dylan Grazer, who was Freddy,
yep,
he's Captain Marvel Jr.
So how does that work? How can you be a junior if there's not a senior? That's been my problem since they renamed Captain Marvel to Shazam. And like I understand everybody called him Shazam because that's what his comic book had to be called because of Marvel owning the rights. But even with Marvel owning the rights, the character could still be called Captain Marvel. But I'm just like, I don't understand how you go forward with that unless you're going to call him Shazam Jr., and which is just the stupidest thing ever. But and then it's also, hi, what's your name? I can't say it because if I do, I'll lose my power. So I'm not going to tell you my name. What? No, I don't know. Anyway, that's my little beef with that whole thing. That's just
look. Just you got to go with it, okay?
I know. I'm going to go with it.
I look at it this way: we're getting Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren.
I know.
And on top of that, they're going to throw in Sinbad.
Yeah, I didn't know Sinbad was in. Oh my gosh. Okay. We haven't seen him in a hot minute, right? But I always liked Sinbad. Sinbad was always great. So
look, it's a good cast.
Yeah, it's a great cast. I love the first movie. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm just questioning what are they going to call him? In the first movie, they went painfully around the naming, which I thought was great. I laughed at that. I thought that was wonderful. I think they even made reference to Captain Thunder, which I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the original character name. So this is awesome. So I enjoyed it, but I'm just like, what do you call them? Or do you call them anything? Do we actually name them? Or are they just here to help? Like, oh, thank you for saving me. What's your name? I don't know. I'm just here to help, ma'am. Here to rescue your dog, ma'am. I don't know. So anyway, we'll get off that train. I know I always beat that to a dead horse because I just don't get it. But I understand the overall reasoning, but I don't understand the practical reasoning on how it works. Anyway, let's move on. So to a movie that I'm just not even sure is going to be made, they showed us still a Batgirl. Is this thing really going to happen?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know that they would really like it to happen, and I know that they've made some casting announcements.
Right.
But
none of them look like Barbara Gordon to me. And again, I don't want to. There are times that I'm perfectly okay with changing how somebody is supposed to look, but I love it when you make them look like what the character does. Introduce the characters that look different. I'm okay with that too. For me, my favorite casting for J.J. Jameson was spot on, and in the original Spider-Man movies with Aunt May, that was perfect. I mean, that was the perfect Aunt May and J.J. Jameson, and of course he's back. But sometimes you want them to look like what you're expecting to see, and I've got.
Look, if you really want to know, this is going to be for HBO Max.
Yep.
And while J.K. Simmons is in it.
Yep.
And they just announced that Brendan Fraser has been cast.
I did see that, which I thought was interesting since he's in Doom Patrol.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But he's going to play Firefly,
right?
Villain.
Yep.
And I'm hearing Jenna Marlowe's name be mentioned. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to really tie into the Snyderverse. The fact that this is being greenlit now by the people who are currently running things, i.e., the people who will eventually get fired, and that seemingly, I don't think any work on anything related to the Snyderverse has been done at all. I don't think any negotiations have happened. I don't think anyone even remotely connected to Zack Snyder or what he's been doing. I don't think anything's happened on that front. So if these people are actually trying to put this together and trying to mold it onto the Snyderverse without Zack Snyder's participation.
See, I just figured it was going to be set outside of the Snyderverse, like everything else coming from above with this group before they finally get the full kick out.
But that's the thing. If that's the case, and that they're trying to use a legal loophole and say that this is based on Joss Whedon's version of Justice League, that's going to anger the new boss, and make it pretty much a sure thing that he's going to shut this entire thing down.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think they've done any filming yet, and of course they're still announcing cast. So that's why I asked the question the way I did. Is it going to even happen? Because I know what are we, a month out before the expected cutting of contract dates of some of these people at Warner Brothers? Is that where we're at, or are we still a couple months out?
Well, yeah, I mean, what we're actually waiting for is for the government to okay the merger. This is not a sale.
Yeah.
Okay. Part of the reason why it's a merger instead of sale, so merger isn't going to take as long.
Right.
Okay. Although it keeps going any longer, and who knows? I mean, they might as well just sold it,
Right.
But AT&T is retaining ownership over all of this.
Mm-hmm.
All it is that basically AT&T is bringing in all of the assets of Discovery Plus.
Right.
And the man who put all that together is running the entire Warner Brothers media and entertainment division is really what he's doing. But he's a guy who does not suffer fools.
Right.
And he doesn't like it when people waste his time. He is someone that has been in the business for a long, long time. And when I say a long, long time, I mean, you're talking someone that's been in the business at least 30 years. So unlike the AT&T people, a lot of the people who are currently running Warner Brothers won't be able to pull some of the same shenanigans that they did to the people that are running AT&T.
Right.
So he's basically ready. I mean, he and his people have been going over everything. So I think as of right now, he's already got his list of people who basically he doesn't have any use for anymore.
Right.
So, this may be one of those projects that gets the axe.
Right.
And we'll have to wait to see if they're going to pick it back up again.
Well, that's kind of where I was thinking this may happen. And if I would love a Barbara Gordon Batgirl movie. I think that's awesome. I'm 100% behind the idea. And maybe you could sell me on it if you got it going right and show me what you're going to do with it. Sure. But yeah, it just has the feel of, oh, we're going to do this. and we're just going to show you a one picture here, and we really haven't done any filming yet, and we're still kind of waiting until we're all fired feel to it. Like,
Well,
okay,
I guess, it does say something that you are unable to reach any sort of agreement with the person who currently has a brand new Batman universe ready to go.
right.
I think that, and this leads us into one of the next movies,
Right,
but
right, which is where
the
Batman.
Batman,
Yeah, right.
And the fact that the Batman is actually going to have a television series
Oh,
that'll
really?
become a part. Yeah. There's still, as far as I know, they're still going to do a television series based on the GCPD.
Okay, yeah.
And that
That's right, yeah.
they're still looking at having some of the cast from the movie The Batman reprise their roles for this show.
Right.
Okay. And my thing is, why not just go ahead and just put Batgirl in there?
Right. Good place to introduce it.
I mean, it would seem to make sense to me, but call me crazy, but
Well, just because Barbara Gordon is the daughter of Commissioner Gordon.
And you have a Commissioner Gordon type television show coming.
Right. You would think maybe. Even though, didn't we get that with Gotham, but we did get Batgirl. Anyway. And of course, that was the young Bruce Wayne. I don't know. And a much different Commissioner Gordon. Anyway, we'll move on. So let's talk about the Batman. So,
yeah.
All right. This movie looks cool. Not sure where it kind of fits in things, or I know it's a standalone movie at this point, which is good because I was really confused.
It's a standalone. It's a standalone universe.
Standalone universe. Okay. I guess that's true. If you're making a TV show out of it, it's a universe.
Yeah. Well, not just because of the television show. Any sequels they have, none of this stuff is going to be a part of anything else that they're doing. That's the way that the people who are currently running things set it up. In order to get, in order to keep the director happy.
Right.
He was the one that requested that none of this stuff be a part of anything else that they're doing.
Right.
He wants it all to himself. He wants to keep it self-contained, and he wants to be responsible for all of the major creative decisions within this universe.
And I can't blame him for that. Can't blame him for that at all.
Yeah.
Even though it'd be fun to be able to be in an expanded play box with the universe and everything else outside of that, but I get that. I mean, because now you're not having to worry about somebody else using one of your characters because you can do whatever you want because it's your own closed universe there that's just this. Yeah.
And it's given some of the people that have been working at Warner Brothers, it's easy to see why. Excuse me. It's easy to see why Matt Reeves would be a little leery, and I get it.
Yeah,
you know, you've got a great cast. Again, another great cast for another DC film. I just look at it as when you're able to get Peter Sarsgaard, John Turturro, Jeffrey Wright, Paul Dano, Colin Farrell, Zoe Kravitz, Andy Serkis, and of course Robert Pattinson. You've got a really good cast,
right?
And so your script better be something,
right?
I just think that having a film that looks like a cross between it's like Batman meets Seven.
Right. You're right. That's exactly what that looks like. Yeah.
So
maybe Long Halloween sort of feel.
Kinda, but
Yeah.
I think a little more on the
Little
really
more-
rough and ready,
No, yeah.
violent side.
Yeah.
This is definitely not a film for younger kids.
It won't be. Yeah.
That said, I mean, it'll be what it is.
Right.
I hope for their sake they're able to make this work, because with the number of people that are actually a part of this project, I really do want to see this movie succeed. Oh
Right.
my goodness. I just learned something. I'm sorry.
What'd you learn? No, it's all right. Tell us.
Mahershala Ali is part of the cast,
Okay.
and so is Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
So I mean, they are really going for it. I mean,
They
wow.
They
They
are.
are really going for this.
So tell me, with the trailer, what do you think of the Batmobile?
It's gonna have to grow on me. Look,
Yeah.
My feeling on it is this. I know that Matt Reeves wanted to make this his own, and I'm ready for him to do it.
Right.
But until I actually see what this actually is, and I'm in the theater and I'm watching it, I'm just going to be kind of warm on this for a little bit.
I get that. Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan of starting all over again with the Batman. I was just saying this to a couple friends of mine.
Done with that.
I would love to see someone who supposedly is a Batman fan make a Batman movie where the entire cast is already set up, where you don't have to do origin movies anymore. Right. You just have Batman, Nightwing, Batwoman, Batgirl, Red Robin, the Signal, Batwing, Cassandra Cain, Spoiler, all of them.
Right.
They're there.
Right.
None of this, I'm new and you got to show. No, I don't need any of that anymore. I want to see a Batman movie. Right. I want to see all the characters there. I want to see it as a living, breathing universe, the way that they have it in the comics, and just let it be what it is. No more of this, we got to start all over again. We don't need to see Uncle. We don't need to see his parents die all over again, just like we don't need to see Uncle Ben die all over again. We don't need it. So that's all. That's all.
I'm with you. There's characters that we've seen their origin story enough that we don't have to redo it. So, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, we've all had it. We know what the origins are. If you watched any movies in the last 40 years, you know the origins of these characters. You may not know the origins of some of the side characters.
Yeah.
And maybe you start a movie with them there and you do some flashbacks, and that works also.
Yeah, you can do that.
We don't need to go back to the beginning. I'm with it. The idea that Batman Year One, Batman Year Two in the comic books were really great. It really kind of helped reset the characters. But after you were done with those, you didn't need to go back to it again. I mean, because you have the origins in the original Golden Age, then you have the origin again with the Silver Age, and then you kind of evolve things, and you redid that in the 80s. We don't need to redo it. We don't need to see it again in the movies either.
Yeah. Again, I completely agree. We don't need to see another Spider-Man or Batman or Superman or Hulk origin again. We don't need these. We just need good stories. And as far as the Hulk is concerned, I really do, as a side note, I really do hope that Disney was able to work something out with Universal so they can actually make some Hulk movies and get us on track where I think we should be with Hulk as a character.
I agree.
Because I would love to see Doc Samson.
Yes.
Oh, man. I've been waiting so long for Doc Samson.
Well, didn't we get a glimpse of him in the second Hulk movie, not the Ang Lee one, but the other one that's actually considered in continuity. I think there
Uh,
was, but I think it was just a passing thing. Another one of those, as you said, we scatter in these characters with hopes of going back to them, and we've done that through a lot of different comic book movie series where you'll scatter them in, and then when you reboot, you lose all of what you did there. But yeah, Doc Samson was I think in that one, but just briefly. But
you mean the
again,
Incredible?
yes, the Incredible Hulk, and he wasn't superpowered at that point, so he didn't have that. I'm actually hoping the She-Hulk television show brings in Doc Samson. That's what I'm hoping.
I hope one of them. I mean, before I retire, I'm hoping that I'm hoping we get something.
Right, right. So I'm anyway. So and this is off DC fandom. And is there anything else
Yes,
that we're missing?
yes.
Anything else we're missing on DC fandom? I think we
No,
covered it all.
I think we've
Okay.
covered everything,
All right.
and we were able to do it in a lot less time than it actually took them to.
All right, right. We're covering it, going into details on our feelings of it, and we're still just at 2 hours instead of 4. I don't know. That's weird. Because we didn't show any fan art, and I couldn't even get pictures to work, so I don't know. But anyway,
It look there. I am happy that they did it,
yeah,
but I will say this: I have a feeling that the next DC fandom event, once the new management comes in, is going to be a little bit better, probably tighter.
right.
And while there are some things that are going away, I have the distinct feeling that there's going to be a lot of new stuff coming.
Right.
And I think, and this is just me personally, I think, like with anything else, DC works better when you allow different creatives to have the opportunity to work with these characters rather than keeping a bottleneck and allowing DC characters to only be controlled by one person. Right. I think Greg Berlanti's an incredible talent, okay? But he wants to go do movies. So you let him go off and do his own original movies now. Let him do the Hollywood big screen thing and find not one, not two, but 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 different production companies that want to come in and do something with the DC characters.
Sure.
That's really, I think, the best way forward. Because while Kevin Feige continues to want to control everything for Marvel, that works for Marvel. He's been doing it a while. Yeah. He knows what he wants. Right. He's got a vision. I don't think you really need that for DC. What you need are people that are enthusiastic, that love these characters and have their own idea of how to present things. And I think going that direction could really prove to be advantageous for them and quite entertaining. So
there you go. All right. So I wanted to ask you something off of DC Fandom and see what your thoughts are just briefly before we go.
Yeah.
Recently there were the comments by Tom Holland about Spider-Man, about how he feels like this is the end of the trilogy, and if we do see Spider-Man, it'll be in different situations. What do you think of that? Because I thought that was an interesting statement. Of course, Tom Holland's known for saying things he's not supposed to say.
Yeah,
a lot.
I have it on good authority that it's just talk.
Okay, all right, and that's okay. It's interesting that he would say that, because then, because honestly, when Spider-Man was about to leave the MCU and only be Sony property, he was a big part of getting a deal done there to make sure that the Spider-Man would stay in the MCU. So I didn't know if maybe that was some little talk there to try to get something done to where this is a more stable environment, because I know that Sony has their own ideas of a Spider-Verse of what they want to do, and we did see that with the second Spawn movie at the end, and we know that there's other Spider-Man based characters coming that are supposed to have their own movies. How well that does, we'll have to see. But yeah, it's an interesting place to be, and I just didn't know if that really was going to usher in the end of the MCU Spider-Man and bring. Okay.
Individually, out of every character that they have, Spider-Man is still the number one IP. That no other character comes close. And yes, no other character comes close. I know that they are trying to push Captain Marvel and all these other. No other character or IP comes close to Spider-Man. I'm sorry. It doesn't get any bigger.
There's not a more recognizable character in Marvel than Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Captain America comes really close in second, but Spider-Man is the top character. Very much how Superman and Batman are right there, 1 and 2, right, A and B, basically 1A, 1B, and then you've got Wonder Woman sitting right there next to them. Same sort of thing. I mean, if you lost the ability to use either Batman or Superman in DC to tell stories, that would be problematic. So
Spider-Man is just it's too big, too successful, and too ingrained with younger audiences.
Right.
Which is part of the reason why the character is so popular and makes so much money. No other character really that Marvel has makes as much money for all of the merchandising and everything they put on a yearly basis. No other character makes as much money as Peter Parker Spider-Man. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
You're right on. I'm going to get, because you know usually when we've got you on, we always go back to merchandising, which is a very important thing. And so I really need to get a clip of Yogurt from Spaceballs saying merchandising. Especially now that it's going to
that's the big look. Even as much as box office for a movie is loved, it is your merchandising that keeps the whole thing running. You can make a lot of money nowadays with a very well done film, especially a Marvel movie. Sometimes you can make $1 billion off of a film. But in those lean times between movies, the only way you keep everything running is through merchandising. And if your merchandising isn't making very much, then you're kind of just twiddling your thumbs until such time as it's time to have another movie come out. Spider-Man has been very helpful in keeping Marvel not just afloat, but extremely successful. As a brand. Between movies. So anything Spider-Man related that they can do is something that is to the good of what they are wanting to accomplish overall. I know that for DC, it's pretty much Batman for them. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Used to be Superman, now it's more Batman, but I think that kind of cyclical with those two characters.
Kind of, sort of, but Batman really does fit in. There are a lot more people that seem to identify with Batman nowadays, and part of it is the fact that unlike Superman, even unlike Spider-Man, he doesn't have any powers. He's just a guy. It's will. Sometimes even more so than his body. It is a strong will. And
true.
For Bruce Wayne to continue to do everything, and despite whatever injuries or setbacks he has, he's a guy that basically he's like a machine. Every night he's out there just getting it done. And when he's not out there, he's probably dreaming about being out there. You know how you've seen those memes based on how the Ancient One will knock your spirit out of your body?
Right.
I'm pretty sure if she ever met Batman and did that to him, that is pretty much just Batman flying out of Batman's body.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah. Because Bruce Wayne is the mask for Batman.
Bruce Wayne is most definitely the mask.
Yeah.
I mean, he just doesn't exist. I'm sorry, he just doesn't.
Not that anymore. Right. He's, yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you for helping clarify that, because I wondered where that line was. And I know that you usually have your ear to the ground and a good feel when these actors make these kind of offhanded comments, that you usually kind of have a feel of where things may be going. So,
well, Tom Holland has a lot going on, and right now he's got the Uncharted film coming,
which looks amazing.
You know, I love Tom Holland. I think he's naturally gifted. But being an Uncharted video game fan, I just find the fact that he is so young.
Right.
You know, that's the only thing that's kind of off for me about it.
I can see that.
Other than that, I'm down. I'm ready to go.
No, and I've seen people make those comments also. Somebody had said that when did they get a teenager to play? And I forget the character's name is on
Nathan Drake.
Nathan Drake, that's right. And I'm like, yeah, he's young, but but in the trailer, it looked good. It looked like he's going to pull it off, in my opinion, even though he's young.
Well, now you've not played the games.
I have not, but I've seen the. So you get the video clips with the games. So
well, let me just say, I hate to bust anybody's bubble, but that trailer. Somebody is obviously a fan of the video games, because pretty much what you saw in that trailer was all the stuff from the video games played out in live action.
Right. Yes.
I don't know how I feel about that, because, the whole playing gag, that's what, the third game or the second game? The one where they're in the room in the office, and he's pointing stuff out. That's also from one of the, almost to the dialogue that they use.
Right.
I mean, they are literally creating a live action version of the video game, except that this is supposed to be early Nathan Drake.
Right.
So, that would be like having Bruce Wayne when he's like 17 become Batman, and he meets up with Bane, and Bane breaks his back.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't work too well.
Yeah, well, that's my only thing about it. Other than that, bring it on.
Hey, I'm with you. We'll see. And again, I've seen some of the because of the video clips that play while you're playing the game, and then it goes to the cut videos. I've seen a lot of those.
Yeah.
Because I was curious what this is, because I've not played it, but I'm like, sounds like a game I would be interested in. So, but yeah.
Oh, they're fun games. They're fun. I keep telling people, just look for the go to YouTube and type in Uncharted video game Harrison Ford and watch that.
Harrison Ford. Okay. No,
yeah, he did a advertisement. He did a video game advertisement for Uncharted.
Huh?
So
I'll have to check that out. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you got me really curious. So we'll check that out. Well, thank you so much, Keith, for coming on. Talking most of the time about DC Fandome. And again,
we had to stick some Marvel in there. Come on.
Well, yeah, because I'm such a Marvel guy.
Let me at least say this one more time. One more thing. Fantastic Four. There, we did it. That's all the Marvel I got.
There we go.
Fantastic Four. I had to say it.
Yeah. So it'll depend on the casting and the writing, but if it's coming from the MCU, I kind of trust the writing as a whole. So yeah. So I'm a good Fantastic Four movie. That's something we've been waiting for. So
you and me both.
Even though it would be fun at some point if you're doing. Oh, I said this to somebody else the other day. When you're doing the multiverse thing, Have Doctor Strange pop up in a world where Chris Evans is Johnny Storm, just to play back to when he was Johnny. I'm like, that would just be like, you look like Captain America. What? What?
I'm sure they could get the entire cast to come back for that. I'm serious. Look, Jessica Alba. I mean, come on. Ian Grifford, come on.
Right. I'm just saying, Chris Evans is Johnny Storm this long, in the future. You're like, but that's Captain America. But no, it's Johnny Storm. Anyway, I can dream. I doubt if it's going to happen. All right.
You keep dreaming.
Exactly. You can't lose your dreams. You got to keep dreaming. As we like to do on the show at the end, we like to go over and talk about our fellow geeks and what they're doing out there, also promote them. And of course, our buddy Keith right here is in a couple of these. And so, as you're out on the interwebs, as people will say, go out and not only go over and check our site out, but make sure you go over and check Pop Culture Minefield out with Keith and Gary. It's an awesome show. Now, our show tries to stay on the PG, sometimes PG-13 level. Theirs does not. So, because Keith just laughs at Gary, but Gary has some very colorful metaphors, as Spock would say from Boy Jump.
I laugh near Gary.
Well, you're not laughing at him; you're laughing with him, right?
Yes, that's it.
Right. No, because he's funny and he makes you laugh on purpose. So, and that's always Ace's favorite part, is watching for what is Gary going to say to make Keith laugh. That's what she loves right there. When she watches this later, she'll be going, "Oh yes, we got Keith laughing." So, also, Keith got his own show over on the Fat Steven Seagal show, Mondays at 3 p.m. So, what are you doing over there now, Keith? I'm assuming
Babylon 5. We're going episode
by episode. So
episode by episode. We are in the third season.
Season 3. Okay.
And we just got done today with episode 9 and 10.
Okay.
And so next week we're going to do 11 and 12. And now with the announcement that there is a brand new rebooted Babylon 5 series coming from its creator.
Right.
We are all excited, and there's a lot of Babylon. Look, we have grown our own Babylon 5 fan base. Yeah. And with the discovery of the complete ultimate collection of Babylon 5, which includes the television series, the sequel series, all 4 of the original movies,
right?
Plus, I think 2 pilots, Legend of the Rangers and the Lost Tales. That is the complete Babylon 5 original collection, and the encyclopedia that they put out a year ago, the signed leather-bound encyclopedias. There's some incredible stuff out there. If you are a fan of science fiction and you want to see something that is different from a majority of the things that you've seen out there, check out Babylon 5. You can find it on HBO Max, and have fun with it. But my advice to you is start with episode 1, season 2, and watch the entire series from there, and then do season 1 after all of that. Trust me, you'll thank me later. So,
yes, I can see that completely. So, all right, that's awesome. I did not know it was on HBO Max. I will be looking for that, because it's been a while since I've seen the series, and honestly, I saw the series when it was on broadcast TV. It's probably the last time I've seen it.
Syndicated.
Missed episodes because of life and everything else. And you missed an episode, you don't know what's going on. You're like, what is happening here?
I will say this. For those of you who, like yourself, remember watching it, but you missed some episodes, watching it on HBO Max is fantastic, because you get to see them all there. Now, they've also cleaned up all the footage. Okay. Everything looks gorgeous. And may I suggest then, if you can't find it at your local library, start with some of the movies. If you finish the entire when you finish the entire show, go and start with In the Beginning, which was a movie that they did that detailed how, or I should say, it detailed what happened that led up to and during the Earth Minbari War, and what all your favorite characters were doing during that period.
See, there you go.
So that's where all the TV movies are a part of. You have one that's a prequel, then another movie, Third Space, that takes place between the third and fourth season almost. And so they made a movie there. They have one called The River of Souls. Yeah, all that stuff. This is all Babylon 5 related, and it's so much fun. It's so original, and it's Warner Brothers. Come on.
I met Straczynski. Nice guy.
He's a total geek.
Yeah,
total geek.
I was actually, he was by himself at C2E2 one year, back when he was just finishing up writing Spider-Man. So for those of you who don't know, he not only wrote television shows like Babylon 5, he also wrote Spider-Man for a while. Some of the best and some of the worst Spider-Man. Now, some of the worst parts were done because the people above him were forcing things. Yeah. But it was an interesting time. Got his autograph on some comics and talked to him for a good 15 minutes with nobody else around, talking about Babylon 5 and comic books and kind of what his visions of what he'd like to do next are. Just a cool guy. So there we go. Very cool, Keith.
This is a classic T-shirt.
Yes, it is.
Now, it's worth a little bit of something. So
nice, very nice.
This is my shirt from back in the day.
That's awesome.
But I will say this. For those of you who also don't know, J. Michael Straczynski used to write for Murder, She Wrote.
Yep.
And he also wrote, he was also, I think, the lead story guy for Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
Yep.
And then he took over Twilight Zone.
Yep.
He also did the Twilight Zone series in the 80s on CBS. And so he's been busy doing all kinds of stuff. And before I forget, he was the screenwriter for the first Thor movie.
That's right, he was. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yes, he was.
So,
which is a great movie. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about some of our other friends here. The Nerd Informants. We've got those guys. Check them out. YouTube, Facebook. They've got all sorts of stuff going on. They're doing movies again now that movies are back in theaters. In fact, AJ and her family won tickets last week to go see Dune. So that was pretty awesome. So they are doing that. Check them out. And you can win tickets to see them if you're in the local area. Go to Branson IMAX with them, and it's their treat. And see a movie with these guys. These guys are awesome. Check them out.
When I grow up, I want to be those guys.
I know, right?
They're living in life, man. They are living the life.
Be that cool. We also have they've got a Facebook page that is for fans where fans can go on, post things. Most of our articles end up on there. Nerd Informants Beyond, check that out. And because there's a lot of really cool information shared there. And so you guys can check that out. We've got the Ozpod Gals. These two are amazing. They're so fun. They're so bubbly. And, and if you've not seen the episode where the Nerd Informant guys show up on there and get them to do things with spicy foods, oh my gosh, you will cry because it's funny, but then you also feel for them. You're like, oh. And I was talking to them the other day, and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that again. We may do some other challenges, but we're not doing that again. Like, I don't blame you there. So Of course, we got the Scallywag, who's one of our partners. Scallywag Productions. Right now, they're still on postponement because of Spoo's health issues. They hope to be back doing videos very, very soon. And they got a plan, so hopefully that plan will come true. We're still praying and believing that we're going to find out what's going on with Spoo's heart issues and be able to get past that and get him back on schedule for doing what he loves. And of course, we do love you, Spoo. I almost said Stu. What am I thinking? Spoo. Oh, and we've got, of course, our website, GeekyKOOL.com. Cool with a K, like cool in the game. And we've got all sorts of writers over there. We've got writers doing all sorts of cool stuff. Come check us out. And if you're interested in writing or doing videos like this, let us know, because we're always taking new people in. Part of our ideal is to have a community for a website to bring people in with their distinct nerd geek voice to be able to represent what they love. And we've got a great crew that does that. So, all right. Well, Keith, again, thank you, my friend, for coming on. We always appreciate you. You are a part of the family, and we so much love having you with us every time. We will call this a night then, and you all stay geeky out there, and we'll talk to you later. Remember, Thursday night, we're going to talk our favorite horror / spooky / Halloween series and TV series / specials. So I've got several that are going on there I know of. So
Constantine's
a really good one. That was not on my list, but it's a really good one.
Well, I mean the Constantine television series.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. No, because there's only on one season on NBC. Yeah, it was really well done. They did bring the character over to Legends of Tomorrow, but that I know that did not make my list, but that's a really good one on the list. And if you'd like to come on, Keith, come on, and definitely we'll talk Constantine there too. So, but yeah, it's
Penny Dreadful. Penny Dreadful
is great, by the way. That it's spooky and crazy, and yeah. But we'll talk about that on Thursday night, guys, to prep for Halloween, which is coming up on Sunday. It's already here. Can't believe the year's almost over. We're starting the holidays, but we get Halloween first. So go out there and watch your scary movies, watch your scary TV shows. Come on, share with us what we're missing or what you think should be on the list, and we'll talk to you guys on Thursday night. Stay geeky.